Okay, welcome to End User Input.
Oh God, no, wait.
Fuck you. We're keeping going. This is still going.
Okay, all right, we're good.
We have a fun show for you today.
Yeah.
Not even 30 seconds in and we're off the rails.
That's pretty normal for us. Savannah is the only thing keeping us on track half the time, I think.
Yeah, she's the responsible one.
Yes, very much so. Okay, first on our list, H1Z1. I've seen videos of this. I don't get it. Garrett,
I
explain.
love it. It's fantastic, man. Like,
Why?
well, okay, so it's early access, which has been a problem in the gaming world as of recent.
A problem?
Yeah, I'm explaining it. Basically, you know, with DayZ or Rust or many other game, they come out with an idea and they're like, this would be cool. Let's put it out to people. If they want it, we'll build it. Then they get all these people's money and then never work on it again. Ever.
Yeah. So they're almost more like failed Kickstarters in that way.
Yeah, except it's even
Except
worse.
Yeah, because, you know, failed Kickstarters don't actually, like, get the money.
Yeah. But this one was actually really good. It's more finished than any of the other survival games I've played yet. There's still a small loot problem, but it's reasonable. It's not, you know, too big of a deal.
Yeah,
So-
I've watched a...
Continue.
Okay, I'll let you explain why it's awesome, but I've watched a couple streams. Here's a grand synopsis of what I've seen. You run, and you keep running, and you keep running, and then you search some shit that's empty, and then you run some more. And then you get shot in the back of the head with an arrow by some asshole from across the country.
Okay, well, that's reasonable. That is a reasonable way to look at it. But
Are there even any zombies in this?
yeah, there's zombies. There's actual zombies
Really?
in this one.
The only zombies I saw in a stream was Jim Sterling was playing it, and he called a supply drop basically, and he went it and found it, and when he got there was already like 4 people there, all trying to get his shit, and it was full of zombies. Like and no one had any equipment, so they were just running around trying to sick zombies on each other long enough to loot the equipment.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the supply drops, because that leads to the one controversy, or the big controversy that H1Z1 has had so far.
Which
was that
shouldn't really be a controversy.
It's more of a misunderstanding, and that's what it should have been. But a lot of players were really upset because the studio said that you can't pay for water or ammo or guns or anything like that. It wasn't going to be pay to win. And then they get the game and they start playing, and oh, well, you can buy like airdrops and stuff like that. And they're like, what the fuck? You guys lied to us. This is bullshit. And the reason that's like, that would seem kind of legitimate, but the reason it's not completely legitimate is, one, you never really know what's going to be in those supply drops. Mm-hmm. It could be almost nothing. It could be a ton of really good stuff. The other thing is, yeah, you pay for the airdrops, but you're not guaranteed to get that airdrop. Anybody can just see it drop and be like, I'm going to go pick that up. That's mine now.
And you don't keep the items either. They're not continuous items. If you die, you lose everything.
Yeah.
So it honestly wasn't as big of a deal as people were trying to make it out to be.
But it was big enough of a deal that the developers did issue a refund to people if they requested a refund within a certain time period.
Yeah, I think it was like Monday.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it ended Monday, but by, I think it was the end of Friday, they had only had like 0.5% of total users request a refund. So there were still a couple more days left, but barely anybody requested a refund. So it was obviously a bit of an overblown issue.
I think that's mostly on just like good of the company and the developers to do. Just because, you know, sure, there was a controversy on it, and it was like they could give people's stuff back. I just liked that they did that. So it's good.
Like honestly, like and you're all right, and you know that's all in the terms and service and whatever. Like the only problem I have with it is that, like, you know, like you paid for this thing to drop, and then other people can literally steal your the stuff you paid for.
But
So
it
like
tells you
honestly,
that.
even
Yeah.
yeah, well, it tells you that, but like even then, like you could arguably charge someone with actual theft if they get to it first. Like it's
Oh.
kind of a weird legal gray area where you're paying for something, and like there's because you pay for anything, there's a chance someone's gonna steal it, but you could still theoretically be like, no, it's not right, he stole it, and I can pursue repercussions for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's probably outlined, like you said, that's probably outlined in the terms of service, though, because,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the point of the game, is it's a
Yeah.
survival game. It's
Where
you
you're-
versus pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
If I can steal somebody's supplies and I'm going to live, I'm totally going to steal somebody's supplies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Like I have no problem with the stealing of supplies. Just like, admittedly, the game looks like it's kind of made for assholes, and I don't really feel like being an ass or be subjected to that kind of
Most
assery.
survival
But
games are.
yeah, like so, like I'm not gonna play it, but I see why people would. It's literally just the fact that like if I'm calling a supply drop that I paid for, it would still kind of like, even if I liked those games, it would piss me off if someone were able to steal it and I actually paid for it. Like if it was a free in-game thing, yeah, go for it. It's just the literally pay thing.
Okay. But the thing is I guess where I don't think that it really, yes, you could think of it as theft because I paid for that. But the thing is it's voluntary participation in a fictional world where the rules are designed just so, where that is not considered an offense that should have repercussions outside of its world. And it's like, so really, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's a dick move, but really. It's kind of weird because now games with a lot of this microtransactions in games, and that moving into more substantial games rather than just like little ones on your phone. It seems interesting to look at this notion where these the real world's rules and law is starting to kind of like they're bleeding into each other is the thing, and it's like, well, that's just theft. Well. In real life, if it was theft, like if they actually took the money from you in real life that you used to buy that drop with, that's bullshit. But in the game, it's like, well, you get that, and it's like with the caveat that you have to be able to get your ass over there and defend your shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because you could definitely argue that you're paying for the chance at getting this. Because if you don't pay, then nothing drops. But if you pay, then something drops, and anybody could get it. But it is your willingly participating in this activity. You should understand, hey, I'm not guaranteed to get this. Do I really want to pay money on it? If so, then you just accept the fact that you may have paid money and get nothing for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, like I understand the situation and in like its willing participation. It's just like, I think it's bullshit, but they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they changed it too, so it doesn't actually drop weapons and stuff like that. I don't remember if that was in the patch notes or not, but
I think it was something like that. I don't remember exactly.
So, like, I think the drops really only give you cosmetic items now, and like stuff that you necessarily can't kill people with. I think. So
okay, like I'm a little bit more okay with that then.
Yeah.
Just because it's like if it's extra shit and you're like. I don't know. Like it just didn't see, like, I guess I was watching this happen and I'm like, it doesn't look fun at all to me to have to run over there and defend my shit with my bare hands when that was the only, like, I was counting on that to make it so I could survive long enough to actually get something.
There's also quests that you can do. Like you get, so let's say you kill like 50 zombies, they'll drop a bag on occasion. And in that bag, occasionally you'll find scraps, or occasionally if it's a player zombie, it'll have like their equipment on them if someone didn't take it.
Yeah.
And so occasionally they'll drop a little key and it gives you a quest, and then you go to an area of the map and it'll have a little chest on it. So you open that chest with the key and it'll give you a gun, some ammo, some food, and it usually gives you a compass. So like there's ways to do it, and it's not necessarily difficult. Like I've done it several times now. And it's just an easy way to get a gun. So you don't have to have the drops to be able to do it.
Yeah. Like, but it doesn't really explain a lot of that up front either.
Yeah.
As far as I've heard.
No, they should be really clear with like the airdrops and stuff. If that's like if you're paying real money for things that you think should correspond directly to things in the game, they should really, really, really make that clear as much as they can.
Yeah.
That hey, that might not work exactly as you might think at first.
Oh, for sure.
But
But
also,
cool.
Garrick, earlier you mentioned something about just in general Steam Early Access and the idea that you're worried about people just taking everyone's money and then not finishing the work and everything. And that's always been a concern with stuff like Kickstarter, like you mentioned. But I'm just wondering, do you think they could fix that if they had a better way to, if they were able to, if they had a better metric against which to measure the stages of a game, its progress, and then they took the price of the game against that. So it was a little bit more, they can't just give you a number. Because like if you pay $40 for a game on early access, it's like, well, that's almost the price of the full finished game. So, but if at every stage, like at the early stages, you only had to pay $2.
Yeah.
And then it started progressively.
And that's how Minecraft worked.
Yeah.
Like, Minecraft is pretty much where the whole concept comes from. Is like they're like, we need money for this. We think it's cool, so we'll let you play our alpha for $2.
Yeah.
And that helped them raise a lot of money toward making it a thing.
Yeah.
But like the problem you get right now is that a lot of people are like, well, not a lot, I guess, but enough people are just throwing together some bullshit game with just whatever assets they can find and whatever engine they can find and putting it on Steam Early Access and selling it for $10-$20 a pop in some cases, and then never touching it again because they've made their money and there's no actual obligation.
Because they're selling essentially the promise, not necessarily an actual product at that point.
And there's nothing like it. It's not like Kickstarter where there is like a backup in case like if it doesn't fund or
penalties
whatever
and stuff
like
associated.
Yeah. It's literally like if you never do anything more with it, you just take the money you've already made and go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you guys quick poll here? Steam Early Access overall, doomed or not? Just like 2 or 3 words.
I think it's fucked.
Okay.
I think it
Can't be
has
fixed.
promise if they add some stuff to it, add some precautions, add some like good guidelines, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's some good games that have come out of early access. I hope early access dies. I can't fucking stand early access. Because you're paying to play essentially an unfinished broken game that may never be finished and you can't get a refund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're charging
let's
$40, $50, then it's stupid. I hate early access.
Well, and let's put it this way. It's like they're charging, a lot of times they're charging, at the very least $10 for stuff that like a lot of early or like young game developers would throw together in their garage over a weekend just to like just as a practice. You know what I mean? Like it's so low early level stuff.
Yeah. This is the way I look at most early access. The developer is making you pay them so you can test their game when originally you would be getting paid to test a game.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at early access.
Which is just so ass backwards.
So, it's a little screwed.
Yeah.
I like
on to the next thing.
Before we move on,
no.
I like the Kickstarter format and like Indiegogo and stuff like that.
Those are great.
I like that, but the way early access works right now, I really don't like it.
Yeah. Like it's especially when it's like every other game on the Steam page anymore is an early access game that I am not at all interested in, and I'm like, this used to be stuff I might have cared about, and now I don't.
Well, yeah, especially because most of the early access games are just terrible. Like even looking at them and watching people play them, they're terrible. They are people trying to get somebody to give them money so they can just run off with that money. Like, you can tell that most early access games are trying for that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
They just went on to Unity, bought all of the engine packs and the skin packs and threw it together, and it's just like, like an actual, like there's a lot of developers who use, you know, pre-rendered stuff from like the Unity store and whatever.
Yeah,
but then they
Unity libraries.
modify the shit of it out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's never even 10% the same half the time, but you know.
Yeah.
On to slightly sadder news, depending on how much you actually care. Apparently, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are not going to be back in the next X-Men movie.
Which is sad,
Yeah,
because they cool.
Yeah.
they are really cool.
I like both of them, and having them in the movies was awesome. I'm wondering if that, because I haven't really looked into the new X-Men movie at all. So, but I'm wondering if that means that they're just getting actors to replace them for those characters, or if their characters just aren't in the movie.
As far as what Patrick Stewart has said, it's that like the story is focused on the same characters as in First Class, like the younger versions of them. Because like I've seen First Class. First Class is great. I got Days of Future Past for Christmas. I still haven't watched it yet, but I want to. Like I'm looking forward to watching it. And like, admittedly, like I quit caring about X-Men as far as a theater going experience a while ago, but they are great weekend renters at the very least.
With
and
X-Men 3, is
like,
that when you
so
stopped
it sounds
caring?
like just for the next movie.
Shots fired.
I don't think you heard me.
Honestly, I like. Yeah, I did hear you. I personally, I haven't watched X-Men 3 in years, so that addendum. I liked it, but I definitely agree it doesn't really work as an X-Men or Marvel property.
It wasn't terrible until like the last 30 minutes, and then it's like, what the fuck am I watching? This is not X-Men.
Where's my X-Men? It's missing X-Men.
Yeah.
That's
But,
when I stopped caring.
That said, yeah. Well, like, I quit caring at, like, X-Men Origins, the first Wolverine movie. Like, that one, like, honestly, I don't care what you say. Like, it blows most other terrible movies out of the water. It's just so fucking bad.
You know what? Okay. I
didn't
actually,
watch
when
it.
I saw that in theaters...
Good.
Okay. I actually, Kyle, my brother, he dragged me to that to see it in theaters. And to be perfectly honest, my initial impression was, okay, that wasn't too bad. But really, the thing that bugged me about it was the physics.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
At every turn, things were just like, no. You know,
there are two
every
things in
minute
that movie.
passed, a physicist was weeping somewhere.
Where we left off, there's two bad things about that movie.
Oh, okay, so you didn't hear that. Two bad things
No.
about that movie. One, the fact that it's Wolverine, and I don't give a shit about Wolverine. I like Hugh Jackman, but Wolverine sucks.
No love for Wolverine?
Why?
Why?
I hate Wolverine. So fucking
Why?
stupid. I'm so tired
Blasphemy.
of Wolverine. Here's the thing. Wolverine
is kind of the most boring
Wolverine was
character.
super cool. But then it's like, oh, he basically can never. He's basically Jesus. He can never die. He's been hit by fucking nuclear bombs and just like, oh, I regenerated because I fucking could. I hate him.
My molecules came
He was
back
really
together.
cool, and then they fucking ruined him by using him too much and being like, oh, well, he can just never die. So no, I don't like Wolverine. And two,
no,
the second thing bad about that movie
Keep going.
is that from everything that I heard, they bastardized the Gambit character, who's my favorite character.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Okay, I'll
wasn't
give you
gonna
that.
see him get ruined, so I just didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, no, the Gambit character, he's in it for like 5 minutes, maybe.
Okay, well, but they do introduce Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in that, don't they?
Fuck that. He is a terrible. Like, he was an okay Deadpool for about 2 minutes in that movie, and the rest of it, bullshit. Just straight up.
I didn't watch it.
And the biggest problem is they closed his mouth.
Okay, no, but he isn't still Deadpool at that point. Yeah. Okay, and also, first of all, I really think that Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool is a good idea. Yeah.
He still is Ryan.
Still is. He still is.
Deadpool.
I still think that's a good idea. So it's just, I don't know. But yeah, the main villain from that Wolverine movie, yeah, kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, it was just fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Trust me. I mean, when I say it was okay, like when I saw it, that was like, okay, yeah, it's like that. Yeah, it was a movie. You know, I mean, I
It
had
was
plenty of
worth your
problems with
$8 at the theater.
it. Okay.
It would have been worth more if it would have been. He probably. It's just fuck that movie. But it's
Yeah.
been retconned. Thank God. But yeah, first class is really good. But yeah, like they're just trying to center it around the newer, younger Doctor, Professor X, and Magneto
I can
and
see
Michael
that.
Fassbender. Yeah,
I can see that.
and the running theory is they're only gonna bother making X-Men movies until Hugh Jackman decides that he's too old or just doesn't want to do them anymore.
Which
Well,
is
it's like Terminator.
which is sad because if they went and just kind of like rebooted X-Men and followed kind of followed because there's some shit in it, but kind of followed I think it was 90s cartoon series, those would be the best movies ever.
Yeah.
If they would go back
the
and
cartoon
make
was
that.
great.
Okay, but the cartoons themselves do not hold up for me.
They
And
absolutely
I was so
hold up.
sad when I.
I've
Really?
gone back and watched the 90s X-Men cartoon, and it's great, except for like the first half of season where they're trying to shove Jubilee down your throat. Be like, you like this character? you fucking like this character? It's like, no, guys, we really don't.
It's
When they
because they
stop
focus
doing
tested
that,
and they're like young girls. That's what the kids want.
Yeah, the demographic.
yeah. But once they stop doing that, that show is still amazing. I love it.
What doesn't the dialogue just
No.
grate on your nerves? I mean,
Dialogue's
it's like
fine.
no.
He's blinded by nostalgia because
I might be.
I still love it.
Dialogue's fine.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
here.
I
Here's the thing. It's been a few months since I watched it, but
yeah.
I like the dialogue. Mostly because I like the dialogue
Yeah.
between Gambit and Rogue, because that was always funny to me.
Oh, theirs is the best. Well, it's because like they're in it like okay. Gambit and Rogue are the best part of that show. Just period.
Yes.
But yeah, no, like I'm a little with Justin here because like I can still watch them. I still really enjoy them, but I'm sitting like I just can't help but sit there and like these are terrible. Well, I've got this big ass cheesy grin on my face. Like
Yeah.
that's how I watch these movies.
I
And when I
might be
say that,
blinded
I mean,
a little
don't
bit.
I could still watch them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could still watch them, and really, it's like when I say the dialogue's bad, it's just like the stuff I really enjoy is like a Joss Whedon level dialogue of characters.
Yeah.
That's that is just like that is soul food for me.
But you see, that didn't exist in the 90s at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
Except for like the 2 episodes of Roseanne that he did.
did Roseanne? That's funny.
Yeah, he did 2 episodes of Roseanne.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on. League of Legends Championship is moving to Europe this year.
Awesome.
I'm happy about this because
Tell me why.
I'm not gonna lie.
Because I don't
it
know why that's a big deal. I don't follow.
Yeah,
League,
give me
so-
the cliff notes too.
Okay. Well, okay. So like there's 3 main countries that are big for League. It's China, Korea, and the US, right? So it's those big 3. And last year's championship was held in Korea,
Seoul.
and it really sucked for the millions of US fans because like some of the matches were held at 4 a.m. our time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like because that was just, that was morning over there. Now, like why this is big besides the fact that like that they actually broke up the Samsung teams because they were just rolling over everybody like to try to make it more competitive. Besides that, like this is neutral territory between the big 3. Like, so the big championship is not only on neutral ground, it's also in a place where it's not going to be inconvenient to watch in any of the countries.
Yeah.
Because like in Europe, it's going to be late night here or midday morning over there.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's just much easier to coordinate time because it's midway between the 2
Yeah.
big areas
makes
as
sense.
opposed to instead of being 12 hours off, it's only 6. I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, that makes tons of sense, because I had no idea why this was a big deal, but it was apparently a big deal, and I was like, alright, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that makes
Well, and
sense.
I want to say the last 3 have been in Korea or something like that. I don't know. I just started watching this year, and so like I'm really stoked for this season, to the point where like I'm gonna start following shit on Twitter, and I don't do Twitter.
Don't play the game. Oh my goodness.
You know what? To me, League of Legends is the digital version of fucking football. I'm not about to go try out for football. I don't give a shit to play football, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't play League. It was fun to watch the games that I watched when there was a tournament that I knew about, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to play
Yeah.
that game because, one, I'm terrible at it. 2, it takes way too long to get good at it.
True.
3, I don't want to be yelled at online for being terrible at it.
Yeah,
Also true.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like I played, and I know Dota's a little different, but like a lot of the mechanics are similar. I played Dota one game with one of my buddies, never again.
Yeah.
Like, because like it was 5 minutes in, the other half of the team was just screaming at me because I had no idea what I was doing, and my buddy was just like, okay, here's what you do, and I'm like, I just don't get it. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't understand that you had to last shot all the minions, so I'm just sitting there like killing these little dudes, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to do the last shot, and like figuring out that timing
I'm
is
supposed
fucking
to get
impossible.
the gold from it? No way.
Well, they never said, like, no one said you have to be the last hit to get the gold.
Yeah.
To get the experience. Like, I'm just like, oh, normal RPG. If I'm fighting it when it dies,
Yeah.
I get XP.
Yeah, there is basically no, like, tutorial for those games.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, you
It's just
can't
like,
teach
oh,
a lot
figure
of
it
it.
out.
There's
Just
a
hope
there's a
you
ton
have
of
good
stuff that is
friends.
just like, yeah, you can teach someone the basics of building a character or the basics of killing minions, but you can't really be like, you have to last shot that. This is how you're gonna build specifically for this character or against these specific characters, and it's too complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and the meta game, like, watching the professional teams at the World Championship of Korea last year, like, just the meta game of like which characters, like, once I started to get to know the characters a little bit through the commentation, I'm like, this is not so interesting, but it's not the kind of thing I'm going to pour any sort of time into.
Well, picking characters is
Other
the
than watching.
biggest part, because let's say they ban, one of your best types of characters, like your best ADC. Don't even know what that
Yeah.
stands for.
It's ad carry.
Yeah, I know that.
I know what that does, and now I can't remember.
But let's say they ban that, then you're gonna have to choose someone else that maybe you're not as good with, or there's just characters that are better for certain situations that maybe they ban and pick a character that plays off of that. So picking
Yeah.
characters is the biggest part.
And watching all that go down was great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just don't give a shit to do it myself.
Yeah.
Because I actually did do a little bit of reading on League of Legends, because I've had people say, "Oh, what, you've never played that?" And, heard about it. So I did reading on it, and it's like, really, seems like I like games that have steep learning curves. I really do.
Yeah.
And the thing is like that game actually looks a lot like that. At least like when you talk about the meta game and everything and having to know your shit kind of stuff. Yeah. That feels a lot like that MechWarrior Living Legends game that I played, that I love to death. And honestly, I gotta have you try and play it, because that game will kick your ass just on the, you talk about no tutorial. Yeah, well.
Well, you know me. I like my ass getting kicked just about as much as I like dying.
Man. But the thing about like having to know, having to get to know all the different characters and what their skills are, it's just like having to know all the different assets and what variants and what, weapon ranges. I mean, any game that has a lot of stuff like that is great when you get into it. But the thing is the getting into it. That's the deal.
Yeah.
And the problem is, it's always like with games that have really steep learning curves is, do I want to invest this much time into this? Is it going to be as enjoyable for me to be in this environment, after I've learned everything, So.
And with League of Legends, the answer is often no.
Well, yeah, I mean, because that's why I like that game, that MechWarrior game, is because at least at the very least, I'm stomping around in a big ass robot blowing shit up. So it's like, you can't go wrong with that.
No.
See, I'll just find an old copy of Mech Assault for the Xbox to do that.
I'll just get the old terrible Gundam games that were fun as hell, but that
dude,
if you actually evaluate them, they're shitty, but they're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've still been meaning to pick up because I'm about to blaspheme here. Just by the way, I love the Dynasty Warriors games. Love them.
That's totally fine. They're shitty games,
Yeah.
but they're fun as hell.
Yes. No, like the voice acting in the newest one is fucking awful, but I kill 900 people on average per level, and that's fun as hell.
Which says something a little weird about you.
Well, I mean,
So I'm a sociopath.
in
Leave me alone.
in that game, you can't hardly take a step without killing somebody.
Yeah.
There's
No.
that many people.
Like, there's just that many people.
It's like, you know when you talk about, like, it was so thick I had to wade through it? It's like, yeah, it is like wheat. It is like a field of wheat, except every blade, or, you know, every stalk is a full, like, warrior guy. I mean, they look intimidating, you know, until you actually go up to them, and then it's just like, wham, one attack, like 50 of them go flying, you know?
See, it makes me feel like Sauron from the beginning of the
Yeah.
Dreams
Yeah,
trilogy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good feeling to have. You're just like, I'm so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been meaning to get the Gundam versions of those because I played that and it was fun as hell.
Yeah.
Just being a Gundam in that environment. Because that's pretty much like Gundam is like the anime equivalent of Dynasty Warriors. Let's
Pretty
be honest.
close.
'Cause
I mean, yeah.
There's 5 that are super good, and then the rest just explode when they get anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
you're
God.
absolutely right.
Look at that Gundam.
I mean, that
Like
basically
frickin-
sums up the original like Mobile Suit Gundam show. Is like, okay, there's these
Yeah.
2 Gundams on each side that are fucking badass, and then everybody else just dies if you look at them.
Yeah, no, freaking. I remember Gundam Wing was my favorite growing up, and the main character Hero he had these 2 little guns that were pretty powerful, and then for some reason he could put them together and would create a laser beam that was like as big
would, like,
around as
destroy
his
planets
freaking
and shit.
Gundam. Yeah,
Yeah,
You know,
it was
it's like,
powerful.
but it's like, then my brain starts objecting to, like, how that physically works, and then it's like, wait
My
a minute,
brain
wait a
doesn't do
minute.
that. I
Cartoon giant robots.
I just get to enjoy the sheer pleasure of it.
yeah. Admittedly, my favorite mecha, which is what the genre is called, of late has been Gurren Lagann. I'm a little late to that party, but
Yeah,
it
you're
is
really
so
late to that
fucking
party.
nuts. I
But
love
it's
it.
funny. It's a good show.
No, my wife had me watch it a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I love this show.
Is that the one that was, like, with the walls and them coming through into the city?
No, that's Attack on Titan.
That's
Attack on Titan
Okay,
is
never mind.
awesome too.
Yeah, that's a good show. Not mecha
Okay.
though.
Well, welcome to the. No, it like the manga is actually better because I started reading the manga afterwards. And I'm like, it actually makes sense now.
When it comes to giant robots doing battle, am I the only one that has a problem with them wielding, like, melee weapons? You know, like, at least, like, giant swords and stuff?
Yes. I have no
Yes.
problem with that. It's fucking badass.
Fantastic.
Okay, what was it? Pacific Rim. Yeah. I actually watched
Oh,
that.
the Deus Ex
That's
sword.
a great
No,
show.
no.
It's a great movie.
No. It is a really good movie. It was way better than I thought it was going to be, for one. Like, I went into it thinking, okay, this is going to just be okay, because I had some time to kill. And I came out and I'm like, that was actually really good. Yeah. The part I have a problem with is, like, when he picks up, like, the oil rig, tanker, cargo ship, whatever, and starts, and it's like, no. And I think
Because that thing would have just disintegrated after.
yeah, I think I've complained about that before. Yes, you have. But you know what?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That one
Anyways.
makes sense.
You see, we've come full circle now because, like, literally this morning while I was taking my wife to work, I was listening to an RT podcast where they had seen Pacific Rim and were talking about how awesome it was.
Yeah. Well, if
So
I
my
remember,
day, full circle.
if I remember correctly in that podcast, I'm going to bring up one thing about Pacific Rim that I think they brought up there. My only problem with that movie was when they bring out the big ass awesome sword and start using it. It's like, you've had that the whole fucking time? Why have you not been using that?
What have you done?
Because it needed the power of a small Japanese woman, or else it would just never have manifested.
Yeah, I guess. It's like,
It's a spirit
but I mean,
blade. That
it's
we're
there
getting
the
at.
whole time, and it's like, oh, we're gonna use that. It's like, are you serious? Why didn't you use this like an hour ago and just kill everything?
Because arguably the dumb Americans were like, yeah, we'll just punch him.
Yeah,
Because that's kind of what they were doing at the beginning of the
to
movie.
be fair,
And they
if
paid for
I
it.
was in a giant robot, my first thing I would want to do would be to punch something with it. So I can kind of
It's
sympathize.
like giant robot, building, punch.
Which is
Oh,
probably
God.
the reason why, if giant robots ever exist, I probably shouldn't be allowed to have one.
Giant robots are not that far away. We're this close to having working fusion reactors, tiny, like ones like the size of dishwashers, and we're this close to having proper, essentially substitute muscle. You know, so they're coming.
Yes.
You know,
I
the computers are
can't
there,
wait. I can't wait.
dude.
That, admittedly, my favorite like bullshit of that movie was when the big EMP blaster monster comes out and he fries all of the other ones, and then they're just like, we're nuclear and theirs is fine.
No, they said we're analog. You know, because all those like digital screens have nothing to do.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
biggie.
and by the way, if you about giant robots being a reality sometime in the future, if you think that everyone having their own little, hobby level drone flying around, bumping into walls is bad, people driving their own giant robots.
I don't think that's bad. I'm fine with the drones being everywhere.
I submit that for.
Well, some people don't. Differing opinions. Oh yeah, no, I can just imagine it. Freaking, I can just see the anime happening now with the giant robots, because like some people are gonna be great at them, and other people are gonna level entire cities because they tripped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well, Tokyo's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. There's gonna have to be a licensing process for that.
Oh, don't you know our puny human brains can't handle it, so there'll have to be 2 of us in each of them.
Oh yeah, totally.
And then for some reason there'll be 3 for no reason other than
In the one.
because
Yeah.
Let's move on to our next topic. We're so far off.
This actually segues quite nicely. Justin, it's science quarter.
Oh, good.
Justin.
Everything that's plausible and not totally fake. Okay.
Hey, anything's possible.
Okay, so I'm just going to run through these real quick.
Yeah.
What?
Shut up.
Okay. So real quick, 3 stories I'm really going to talk about real quick. They have a scheme to help with chip design. So like all like your graphics cards or CPUs and whatever, like Intel, NVIDIA, all these guys building these chips. Every time they make a change, they generally have to do a shitload of testing. We're talking billions of dollars shaved off their industry, poured into testing to because really it's massively complex. I mean, because you're talking about. I think they actually give you some figures. Yeah, in 1985, Intel had the 386 processor, 275,000 transistors in that. And then now, 2015, NVIDIA's largest chip, they say, contains about 7 billion transistors. So that's kind of a jump.
big numbers.
Yeah, and it's not like there's shit going everywhere. So the cool thing about this story now is the real reason why it's so interesting is I don't know if you guys know, in programming languages, there's different types. There's imperative, there's declarative, and then there's one called functional.
Yeah.
Now, in functional programming languages, what they're doing is they're taking a functional programming language, specifically Haskell, and applying it to circuit design. And so these functional programming languages have advantages that they essentially, it's a bunch of functions that map one input to one output. And they always do that with no side effects, and so it's very easy to write a program in a functional programming language that you can prove is correct. Yeah. It's very easy, and so what they can do with this framework they built now is they can write these hardware descriptions in an abstract syntax in Haskell, and then and I think I'm probably saying that slightly wrong, but they write these descriptions in that, and then they can run it, prove it's correct, and then they can manufacture the chip with minimal testing. So what that'll do, that'll.
So what you're saying is theoretically things could become a lot cheaper when you're going to buy your next gaming rig.
Yes, because I think they talk about how Intel had a specific.
Now watch, they'll actually charge more for these.
In 2011, Intel had a design flaw that ended up costing them $1 billion. Yeah. Because a mistake made it through.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that seems pretty cool. Could probably help. Could speed up the process. Okay.
Yeah.
Story number 2. There seems to be evidence that there might be more planets in our solar system than we thought there were.
More planets.
Specifically 2.
Specifically.
What they did is they have found these. They've been tracking the trajectories of objects around Neptune, like that far out, and what they found is due to the way they move, it looks like there should be some extra large masses out there. Yeah. And if they calculate it out, they find they're big. They should be big enough to be fully fledged planets. Yeah. Which is kind of a big deal because we kind of all thought we knew what was going on out there. I mean, this isn't like they aren't coming out and saying yes for sure, but it's like, yeah, this is very suggestive of that. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting,
Well, and let's be honest, they did just downgrade Pluto, so we're in need of a Pluto Mark II.
Pluto Mark II.
Haven't they been talking about reinstating Pluto as a planet though?
I think they changed it to a different classification, a dwarf planet, I think is what they actually call it now.
So it was a planet, and then they named it a Kuiper Belt object, and then they went to dwarf planet. Okay.
Yeah, because I think technically it's like it's not even. Well, it's the closest to, dwarf planet to the sun.
Well, okay, and to be fair, we have to have all these different. Yeah, sorry, dude. We have to have all these different ways to classify things, and really, it's like you got to draw lines somewhere, and it's okay, so there's that news. Pretty cool if you like, space and everything.
Space.
Actually, no. A surprising number of people couldn't give less of a shit about space.
Well, yeah. Well,
considering we're actually in space right now.
Yeah. You know what? Their hearts love space. They're just blocking their hearts.
Oh, man. Okay. Final little tech story I'm going to mention. Apparently, a company called PureLiFi, not Y, lie, like L.
PureLiFi, basically. PureLiFi.
Yes. I guess that's a play on words with Wi-Fi, because what they're essentially doing with their technology, because they just acquired, again, this is from the
acquired.
They acquired some funding, 1.5 million pounds, UK people.
Rough, just short of $3 million.
Really? Okay. So, I mean, that's quite a sizable amount for what they're doing. Now, mentioned with Wi-Fi, Li-Fi, what they're doing is they're using visible light to transmit data. Yeah. Which is pretty cool.
So, would that be at all similar to optical cable?
No, because what it'll do is it's still using. There still doesn't have to be any direct transmission. It's not using directed lasers or anything, but it's like, imagine if your light in your room was pulsating at a fast enough rate that on and off signal could be detected by a device connected to your computer, and it can interpret that and filter out data from that. And really, I mean, if you look at most lights in residential homes that are specifically, you can see it in fluorescent lighting if it's cold. The flicker rate is actually just low enough that you can see, because standard, at least where we live here in the United States, the standard cycles per second for our alternating current electricity is 60 cycles per second. So that's just on the edge, 60 frames per second, 60 cycles per second. So we just can't notice. So with this, what they can do is they can just make it flash on and off faster, and then they can use existing, lights and stuff to do that. Now, it does introduce some difficulties where it's not the end-all be-all solution for anything, because you need line of sight, But it's really cool because they could do that with lamp posts and shit. Yeah. It's really exciting, and also the fact that it's using a really really fast pulsation, really short wavelengths and stuff. They can transmit quite a bit of data with it, and they have made prototypes and such already. So it's kind of cool. If you ever feel like checking it out, it's kind of cool.
You know, it'd be hilarious. You point one of those at the sun. So much porn.
The sun is full of porn.
Yeah, I don't get what you're going for.
Like, no, it would just be funny.
No,
like,
you're right. Because I mean, think about all those Greek gods and depictions of the sun and shit. They're all naked. No shit.
Yeah.
So the sun is made of porn.
Yes. Like, it just oscillates at just such a frequency that, like, you access the internet outside in the wrong angle, and all you can access is free porn for some reason.
That would be funny.
It's like a.
I want that to happen.
It's like a. Oh God.
It's like, what are you looking at? The sun porn.
Sun porn.
Dude, it's
Like,
so
no,
hot, man.
It's not what you think. It's porn from the
Isn't
sun.
I could swear there was some kind of company that made like snack foods that's called sun corn. And it's just like I don't know.
Oh man.
Anyways, that's tech stuff.
Cool.
And sun porn,
Sun
apparently.
porn.
So
Everyone loves sun porn.
Let's be careful with how we're saying that.
SUN porn. There you go.
Thank you.
Tayson, you want to lead us out of this really
Yeah, let's
weird
get out of this
line?
weird thing that we're in.
So Microsoft is offering free upgrades to Windows 10. I know Jason and Garrig were happy about this.
I'm quite happy about it
Yeah,
because
go
I don't
ahead.
have to buy Windows 10. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna back up my Windows 7 onto a disk and just be like, "That's over there. You just stay there
So,
and then go
the
Windows 10
reason-
for a little while."
The reason I'm happy about this is because Apple's been doing this for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
when they were charging for their OS updates, it was only like $20-$30 in the first place, but then over the past year, maybe a little bit more, I'm not exactly sure how long it's been, they've been giving it out for free to people who were on some of the more recent versions of their OS.
Yeah.
And seeing Microsoft do that tells me that Microsoft has finally understood that it needs to be competitive. And so they're starting to do the same thing.
What?
And that's
Really?
really cool.
It's like, well, yeah, what?
And I'm glad that they're doing it for the operating systems they are, because it's going to work for Windows 8.1, and I would assume Windows 8 if you're somebody who hasn't upgraded to 8.1 for some reason, which
Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you're on Windows 8, upgrade to 8.1. It's way better. And it's
Word.
for Windows 7 as well.
Yeah.
So that's really
Like-
cool.
To be completely honest, like, I want to really bad, but I'm worried that if I do, none of the shit I use to, like, do all of my editing and audio stuff is gonna work.
Everything that I use, anyways, works just fine. I think you use Pro Tools, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what its compatibility is, but I haven't heard too many issues with Windows 8.1.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the main issue that people have with 8.1 is the Metro user interface, and the desktop
Yeah.
is kind of
Well,
back in
like,
8.1, and I just installed the start menu application thing,
Yeah.
and now Windows 8's great. It's way more efficient.
Yeah.
It works way better than Windows 7, and I can use it exactly like I used Windows 7. So I actually like Windows 8.1,
Yeah.
so I'm excited for Windows 10, because if they're going back
sure.
to more geared towards the desktop, which is where what the power users want, that's going to be awesome. Especially because I'm really hoping that since 4K is starting to get so big, that Windows 10 offers even better support for display scaling for 4 and 5K displays, as well as really good support for having different scaling on different monitors. Because when I get my setup, I'm going to have a 4K monitor, a 1920 by 1200 monitor, and a 1920 by 1080 monitor.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have different scaling values on all of those monitors probably. So
Sweet.
I'm just
Should
hoping
be nice.
for
Hopefully.
I'm hoping for more stuff from Windows 10. And then
Yeah.
they've also, at the same presser, they announced the Project Spartan, which is their new browser that's kind of going to take
yeah.
over for Internet Explorer, but they're still going to make Internet Explorer for compatibility. And
Yeah.
as of right now, we don't know a lot about Project Spartan, but I really want to hope for it, because I need a browser that is fairly like simple layout, like Chrome, supports updates, or not updates, but like plugins and stuff like AdBlock Plus and different things like that.
Yeah.
And is fully standards compliant, so maybe Microsoft will actually have a browser that's compliant with HTML5 finally, because Internet Explorer certainly isn't.
Yep.
And that's lightweight, because I love my Google Chrome, but Chrome used to be lightweight, but it is the heaviest browser in existence right now.
I've been doing stuff like editing or whatever, and it's just fine. Computer's fine. It's not even it's barely using a half of my CPU. I open up my Chrome browser because I have 4 pages come up, because I always check those pages when I start up, and I've had my computer crash from those 4 pages added.
I mean,
because of Google
Chrome is it's just gotten to the point where it's ridiculously unwieldy. It's so large. It's a hog for your system resources now, and that's what made it so popular when it first came out. It was super lightweight. So I want Microsoft to do all of those things with Project Spartan, and I don't think they will on some of those things, but if they do, a Microsoft browser might become my main browser, which I never would have thought I'd even consider that, but it would be really cool.
Oh yeah.
If they would address all those things.
Okay, so like with Windows, or excuse me, Microsoft eventually killing Internet Explorer slowly, I really think that's a good thing, because the in any sort of software development project, you end up with code that may or may not, like, people that have written the code go away, or stuff's not properly documented, or even if it is, no one can understand it because it's too complicated or it has too many dependencies. And what you end up with is code that is this like esoteric knowledge that it's like we don't want to touch because we don't know what it does. We can't. So what happens is things just get even just the executable or the code gets bigger and bigger and bigger because some stuff just accumulates. Now, you can fight that, but eventually it will get you. So really the only thing to do is to start fresh while
from
using
scratch.
what you've learned from scratch. And then also two more little things I wanted to say about that. In 8.1, like I have 8.1 on my laptop, and I end up, one thing I did to try and decrease the latency bringing up the start screen when I have to is I make that background the same exact same file as my desktop background, and it did shave like a couple parts of a second off, so just something. And then also when you're talking about I don't want to maybe upgrade because it might introduce incompatibilities with stuff I need to use. Well, I think with God damn it.
Sorry.
Okay. With a lot of the upgrades that Windows has had lately, I think they have, what it does is it stores all the old files on there, and it will allow you to roll back the update. So I'm hoping that you can look into it, they might have that for this. If they do, then you could try it out, and if it sucked, just roll it back, which would be great.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I wish I could partition and then upgrade.
Yeah, well, and the thing is ideally anymore, in nowadays world, we really shouldn't be having any of our user files on the same drive as your system drive. I mean, really, it's like, but even I do. I mean, it's just like we shouldn't have to, but it ends up that way.
Yeah, like my dream computer has an SSD with just the system file.
Or at the very least, it should come standard as a separate partition. I never liked that in Windows, how they have all of your user space is on the same partition. Like, that's one thing I really like about Linux, is that you have all your system shit, and then you have a separate partition for your user space.
And then when you have to inevitably roll back your system shit because you fucked something up, it doesn't touch it.
Exactly. You can change the whole operating system.
You can set that up on Windows. It's just not built in from scratch like it probably should be.
But it's kind of hacky when you do it like that. That's why if it's discouraging enough to me and I feel kind of comfy with doing shit on computers, I can't imagine anyone else.
Oh yeah, like if there's an easy rollback feature, oh hell yeah.
A normal end user is never gonna change that type of
Pretty
thing.
much.
But yeah, different rollback features would be awesome. Or I don't like Apple, but some of the stuff they do is just so good. The time machine thing on Apple stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
I wish Microsoft would implement something like that. That would be so nice.
Yeah. When I was in one of my final audio classes for college, I think I ruined the audio. Like, I don't know how I ruined the audio drivers on a Mac PC by accident. I don't even, like, we were just trying to get an older piece of hardware to work with it, and then suddenly nothing worked. And, like, and so we time machined it, and it worked fine after that. But it's just like,
And Windows, okay, Jason, Windows does have some things. I give you that they're not nearly as mature or as easy to use, but they do have System Restore, which has been a feature for a long time.
They have the
kind of buggy, kind of shitty.
They have the System
But then they also
Restore.
have shadow copies.
You
know those shadow copies?
Here's the thing. They did have shadow copy. Look for it in Windows 8 and 8.1, and you might find something similar, but it's not the same as it was in Windows 7. Mm-hmm. They all of the underlying code is still there
I'll
for
have to take
shadow
a closer
copy,
look.
but the places where you could go to implement that stuff is just gone. If you want somebody to really rant about that, over on the Tech Syndicate YouTube channel that I mentioned before, back when Windows 8.1 had come out, they were doing some overviews and stuff of that. They ranted about that nonstop because they were pissed that shadow copy had been changed. And that's like one of their main things they want back in Windows 10 is shadow copy unchanged from what it was in Windows 7.
Yeah.
Because, shadow copy was a thing, and it was really powerful and really cool, but they changed it.
Makes
But,
sense.
I agree. Shadow copy is a really good utility.
Yeah, and there was like a couple other little features in Windows, specifically like 8.1 that I really liked was they allow you to do storage pools, for like spreading stuff among. I kind of like that they have that built in. I hope that they kind of move more towards that with Windows 10. But anyways, that's kind of off topic.
Yeah.
So
Garrick, do you have more to say about this than
yeah, man.
I hope we get a Cortana that's like a little clippy.
That would be awesome.
Just Cortana appears on your little
If I
desktop.
was Microsoft CEO, like presenting that, I would so do that as a joke. Have that like be the skin for it, but have it like all the real good code still be there, so it can like do all.
So it just looks like Clippy.
Yeah, it just looks like Clippy, just to screw with them.
Yeah.
You see, but we're fun.
But
Well,
I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
I'm excited to have a new Windows. Hopefully, it's more functional than 8 because 8 is a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's not. 8.1 wasn't too bad if you install the start menu utility that was good.
But I don't know. Not much else that's really new in my world with that.
Yeah, so there is one last thing I want to talk about that was revealed at this same press conference.
Topic?
And that is that Microsoft announced that with Windows 10, Windows 10 and Xbox One are going to have some different intercompatibility things, and because of those, you will now be able to stream Xbox One games through your home network to a Windows 10 based PC or tablet.
Which means Halo on PC.
Basically, the main thing that I want to do with this is like I keep all of my consoles in one area
That's
with
doing it
all
right.
my content creation stuff. So eventually, when I get my own apartment and everything, and I have my living room, I'm just gonna get a home theater PC, hook everything up wired to my home network, and then if I want to play an Xbox One game, I can play it in my living room without having an Xbox One game, Xbox One console there, because I can just stream it through my network. I'm really excited about that.
Well, like, let's be honest. Like, there's no real reason they couldn't release the game for PC under those constraints
That's
at all,
true.
actually. Because theoretically, anything that works on Xbox should work on Windows 10. That's at least how they want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, the high-level code should translate, but, like, again, it's like they spend, at least on console games, they spend so much of their time on optimization specific to that hardware.
Yeah.
On PCs, you lose that guarantee.
Yeah, and see,
Well, like, it would be cool. Like, even with no guarantee, it would be kind of awesome to just throw throw in or be able to buy Xbox One games on your computer.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't even.
Well, that's why
it's not even. It's. We've talked about like the Steam like stream platform and stuff. It's basically just that you can stream it.
Yeah.
You don't even have you buy it for your Xbox One. Your Xbox One has it. Your Xbox One plays it and just sends it to a different screen. That's what I'm really excited about. They did talk about like some cross-buy things where you'll buy something on PC or Xbox and you'll have it on both.
Yeah.
Which that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm really more excited about the streaming possibility because I want to have all of my consoles set up in one area and then just be able to stream those games to my living room and enjoy things there without having to have a separate console. Because there are always going to be games that are exclusive to Xbox One. Even if it could be on a PC, it's not going to be. But with the streaming, you can still just have a home theater PC and play an Xbox One game there. So that I'm super excited about.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, there have been a surprisingly large amount of very compelling arguments for getting, because like I'm a PlayStation guy. I generally like PlayStation over Xbox with the exception of Halo, but like the apps and stuff for Xbox just work better, and supposedly they work even better on the Xbox One, and like
Xbox One has its fair share of user interface issues, and the apps are kind of slow to load and change, but they work really good. And in general, Xbox has more apps on there, which is really nice. As far as the streaming thing goes, the Sony launched something called, like, I think in America they called it just the Sony TV, but it was called Vita TV, I think, over in Japan and stuff.
Yeah.
And that you can stream PS4 games to just that box, and the box is $100, so about the same as an Apple TV. But if I remember correctly, you're limited on what games you can stream to it, which is the thing that kind of pisses me off. Like, if I buy something to be able to stream games to it, I want to be able to stream every game to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last I heard, like with their current PlayStation TV app, or not app, machine, I do believe that is limited. But last I heard, as far as like the Vita or to the newer Sony phones, the games it's not actually limited to any particular games, at least not on the PS4.
Yeah, you can stream to those devices, but I want to stream it to a device that's hooked up to my TV and use a Sony controller with it. I don't want to use the mobile devices like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to use it so I can have it connected to my large 50-inch TV without having an actual console connected to it. That's what I want.
Well, no, like, that's the cool thing about the new Sony Xperia, actually, is, you know, it has the hookup so you can hook it up to your TV like, you know, you do any phone nowadays. But like with its Bluetooth, it actually is compatible with the PS4 controller.
Yeah.
So you're playing it off your phone, like it's just streaming to your phone off your home network.
Yeah, still, that would mean I'd have to use my phone as a controller or use another different controller with it, but I'd have to go through the process of connecting my phone to my TV and having a Sony phone. What if I don't want a Sony phone? I just want the I just want the Sony TV box to let me stream games from my PlayStation 4. Games that I've already paid for and that I own and that are sitting on my console. I just want to be able to access those on a different, larger screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're okay with buying a separate piece of hardware as long as it's just a simple streaming box.
Essentially, I don't want to have to pay for a $400. I don't want to have a PlayStation 4 in one room and then have to buy another $400 PlayStation 4 for my living room. I just want like a little $100 Sony box that I hook in, and all it does is stream games from my PlayStation 4. That's the only thing I want it to do.
Because I like that idea too. I really don't want them to try and integrate those kind of functions into TVs themselves. I think the TV should stay as a display device with limited connectivity for like
good luck buying a TV in the next 20 years then.
The TV in my living room. I mean,
like nowadays, even the cheap TVs,
smart.
like I no longer need anything for Netflix.
I hate smart TVs.
No, the thing is, my point is, it just seems so pointless.
Oh no, I don't disagree with you. I'm just like, That's what we have
Yeah.
now.
I think it'll die out naturally because
everybody
people have their other devices.
Yeah, people have an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Nintendo or just an Apple TV, and those things, like most people, that like the smart TV, like the main things that are built into that are Netflix, Hulu, and generally Pandora.
Yeah.
All of the devices that I mentioned will stream that already and do it better than any of the and do
Smart
it better
TVs.
than anything built into the TV.
Yeah.
Because they have the hardware for that. And
Yeah.
it would be really nice if the TVs would just drop all of that stuff, because then the TVs would be cheaper, and I don't need them to be able to stream Netflix because I already have like 6 devices that will stream Netflix to my TV.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wait, it's getting to the point where you're fucking... Like, I was about to say phone, and I'm like, wait, those have always done it. What's something simpler? Like, it's getting hard to come up with devices that don't stream Netflix now that I think about it.
I mean, because I have Netflix on my phone, I bought a $35 Chromecast, I can now get Netflix on my TV. Oh, and my Xbox.
Yeah.
Both of my Xboxes and both of my PlayStations and my Nintendo and my DVR thing that I got from the cable company. All of these things support Netflix. My TV doesn't need to support Netflix.
Yeah. Well, you can do all of those things on your Xbox, unless it's this week, because I've been trying just to do, like, I do Netflix every day. I'm a person who leaves it on for noise. Their services have been down for the last, like, 3 days.
Yeah.
And, like, supposedly YouTube and shit still works. It doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, they announced
I've
that
been just trying to watch Rooster Teeth for days.
They announced that their services have been down on Xbox Live. They said gaming and social, so video should have still worked, but apparently you've been having issues with that as well.
Yeah, no, like, the problem isn't, like, because it'll do it for a little while, but just because, like, Xbox as a whole is being, or the Xbox Live is being a piece of shit as a whole, like, I'll just randomly drop out of Xbox Live, like, because it's always connected to certain social stuff, and then it'll stop streaming everything else.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And I was actually having similar problems with PSN earlier today, but that went away much quicker.
Yeah, so. Sony's been... I think Sony took theirs offline for scheduled maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, last story, and we'll make it quick.
That's all I have to talk about, basically.
Yeah. Simon Pegg is co-writing Star Trek 3. Yay!
That makes me happy.
One thing I read the story for that.
Yeah.
One thing kind of makes me slightly troubled.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Fast and Furious director, Justin Lin. Now, I don't know if he did all of them or the first one or...
If I remember right, he's associated with the only ones that are actually worth watching from a directorial standpoint.
Huh.
Oh, okay. Because the thing is he's a director, so he wasn't responsible for most of the reasons I hated that show. Because the first Fast and Furious was actually really good. I liked it.
Yeah, no, he was like, he's cool because he was just like, okay, I've got this steaming pile of shit. Now to make this steaming pile of shit look as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah, because I mean, if they say, okay, we got to have this, them pulling a safe around in their cars and like explosions and this and this, and it's like he has to make that look good. So it's like, you know what, that might actually be like say something really good about his skills.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what?
Yeah, no, like that man is a master at polishing turds.
Yeah, well, and then I mean, you're right, and the title thing, Simon Pegg being the co-writer. I like that guy. Yeah. I like that guy's work a lot.
Yeah, I love.
Well, like
love
basically, I'm just like anything to make sure J.J. Abrams isn't fully writing anything I like, because he's not fully writing Star Wars. Like he's got on everything now. So I'm like, something coherent might actually come out.
What things has he written?
Why do people hate him?
No. Hold on.
I like him. I do genuinely like J.J. Abrams. He just has a very large problem with follow through.
Which movies? Like, give me an example or two.
Like, honestly, I love the 2 Star Trek movies that are out. Into Darkness slightly less so, but still, like, I really like them, but just there's a lot of glaring flaws in both of them. Like, just from that kind of directorial standpoint of like trying to get things working properly. So I'm just like he does best when he's just like one step removed, I've noticed.
Because with those things, it was more the like the plot and the writing and stuff that I kind of had some issues with. But like the actual like what I would think the director's actually doing, I thought was
because like he did both of those things, and there's some narrative problems with both as well. Like he was very heavy in both the writing and the directing of both those movies, and now less so. He's more production side of things now, and the stuff when he's more production side, stuff ends up really cool. It's like it's kind of when he just gets his hands too dirty in it.
Well,
that things
and
be problematic.
Why everyone doesn't like J.J. Abrams? Actually, I don't really have too much bad to say about the guy except for the overuse of lens flare. And he actually seems like, I remember reading some statement he released where he actually is now aware of this and is taking steps to correct his behavior.
He used a ton of lens flare in the first movie because it was a thing that always happened in that show. And then even he said when he went back and watched it, he's like, I may have overdone it on the lens flare. Maybe just a little bit. And you could tell that he's like, I used way too much goddamn lens flare. Like, he understood it once he watched it, but he was legitimately, like, trying to, one, be faithful to the original and have a little throwback in there that fans would be like, that's really funny. He just did a little too much. He's like, I just overdid it.
Yeah. Well, and admittedly, a lot of people's problem, and I can understand this, is the J.J. Abrams marketing machine. It just tries to play up every little detail and secret to the point where half the time you know the detail and secret because of how much they're trying to hide it.
Don't like here's how you solve that. Don't watch the trailers.
Yeah, I know. Well, and nowadays that's possible to do because like I only watch shit on Netflix and YouTube, and I hate ads, so I can skip them on YouTube. But like when I was a couple years ago when Star Trek was first coming out, like I only really watched TV, and it was impossible to go more than 5 minutes half the time without seeing a goddamn trailer for some.
Yeah, I guess I can give you that. Being able to skip the trailers is kind of a newer thing since people don't all have television. And are mostly consuming content through the web now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like nowadays I can do that. Like I really loved the new Star Wars trailer, and I personally, because I don't care about spoilers, will still watch. But like at the it's just like his whole mystery box theory.
Mystery box theater. That's funny. No, that's funny.
Okay.
Like a lot of people just have a problem with his mystery box theory and how he implements that in his marketing.
Yeah.
But I like someone coming from me, like you could spoil every ounce of Game of Thrones from here to the end of the 5th book for me. I do not care. I'll still watch it.
I would still watch it. I would murder the person who spoiled it for me.
10 words.
No, you see, like I don't even care that. Like I'm just like, oh, that's cool.
I will murder for spoilers. I can't stand that shit. And people are like, oh, it's been out for like 2 hours. It's like, fuck you. It's like, I don't care if it's been out for 2 years. If
it's been out for 2 hours.
Yeah. People will do that. It's like, it's been out for 2 hours. You should have watched it. It's like, fuck you.
I'm a big fan of
something's been out for 2 years.
Statute of limitations.
If something has been out for 2 years and I show interest in it, if you spoil it for me, I'll fucking murder you. If you just happen to spoil it for me and then I don't really care. But if I show that, like, yeah, I'm really interested in that, I need to go watch it, and then you purposely spoil something, I'm not your friend anymore. I fucking hate when people do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
I want to make fun of Jason. I want to make fun of you for like taking it way too far, but actually, no, I totally agree with you on that. I will freaking murder you if you.
Welcome to the Murder Podcast, guys.
Like, I can see ruining stuff on purpose. Like, if I said, "Oh, I'm looking forward to Game of Thrones tonight," and then they instantly tell me exactly what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about
like if I said I'm gonna go watch that tonight, and you're like, "Oh, this happens," I like even I, Mr. Don't Care, would be a little cross. Like, don't tell me that. But like generally I don't like people who get mad because like you're talking about something in general conversation and happen to spoil something and then they're pissed and it's like, well, no, I can't watch it. And it's like, it's 2 fucking years old. I can talk about it now. God damn it. Justin, do you have any last thought?
Shit, I did. Okay,
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Look, if it comes up in casual conversation, no problem. If, like Jason said, you say, "Oh, hey, I've been wanting to see this show," and then someone says, "Oh, yeah, it's so cool at the end where the president turns out to be an alien and barbecues all the congressmen," yeah, that's.
Admittedly, I know people who take that to the extreme of like they don't even like it when they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go watch this," and the other person says, "Yeah, that was cool." Like, I know people who get pissed about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's excessive.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's it for me. So I'm
All
out.
right.
Yep.
Now, before anything else drops, this was end user input. We did good today. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't
You
spoil my shit.
2, 3 people.
Thanks for listening to this week's End User Input Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and favorite, and leave a comment below. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at the links provided below. Also follow the links to relevant content. See you next week!